Got my notes, check. Pepsi, check. Sunglasses, check. Hat, check. Thick skin, check. And sources, check. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blued, everybody. This is where we cover all of college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I call my Patreons the shot callers, and I can't wait to live stream some games and watch it with my Patreons and the score prediction contest. That's going to be fun. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. We're finally to 9,000 subscribers. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You are the ones that hit the subscribe button. I'm just here rambling my head off. So I appreciate that. We had a goal to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're actually bumping that up to the kickoff of the Backyard Brawl. So we have till September 1st to meet our goal of 10,000 subscribers. But I know we can do it. You guys have really answered the bell. So for a while we heard that Utah was interested in the Big 12. The Big 12 was interested in Utah. And then Utah said, hold up, wait, hold on. We're actually thinking about the ACC. I think the ACC is interested in us. So we're going to talk to the ACC. Now I'm hearing that Utah might actually be in trouble of being left out. I have had Utah in the Big 12 in pretty much all of my scenarios. But it's come out that the Big 12 might actually not want Utah. There are some litigating factors that would keep Utah out of the Big 12. The biggest one is the BYU factor. It would have helped Utah if they could have got to the Big 12 first, and maybe they could have kept BYU out. Instead, it happened the other way around. Actually, BYU wanted to get in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 said, nope, we don't want you. You're a religious school. It would be a pain in the rear end to schedule your basketball games because you don't play on Sundays. So they kept BYU out. And you better believe Utah was one of those schools that kept them out. Well, that might have actually hurt Utah because BYU is now joining the Big 12, and Utah might be looking for a home, and BYU might be able to keep Utah out. Yeah, what a turn of events. The Big 12 now already has a school in that TV market in the state of Utah. I'm not sure if they think that Utah would add much more value since they already have a market there now. And Arizona schools are actually valued higher by the Big 12. Nationally, Utah would be the higher valued brand. But in the Big 12 in particular, it would be the Arizona schools because of what I just mentioned. A TV market that they don't have. Utah's in the state of Utah, so is BYU. So the Big 12 already has a TV market in the state of Utah now. With Arizona and Arizona State, they would be grabbing a whole new state. So those are some litigating factors that could hurt Utah getting into the Big 12. The thing for Utah is that the Pac-12's in trouble. We already know that the TV deal is expected to drop dramatically. If everybody stays in the Pac-12 as is, it could drop under 30 million. If more teams leave, it could drop lower than that because the value would drop. So I'm thinking Utah needs to find a landing spot ASAP. Don't forget to check out our merchandise store. Anything you could ever want from Golden Blue is at our merchandise store. My favorite shirt is actually the checklist shirt. People are expecting Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Colorado to join the Big 12 next. I know that leaves out Arizona State. So maybe that's Utah's only hope. Maybe they can be part of the next wave after that. After they add Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Colorado, Utah can jump in with Arizona State. Hey, you needed a second school in the state of Arizona? We're the second school in the state of Utah. That's a good argument right there. With the Big 12 actually bring in Arizona and leave out Arizona State. That would be a big risk that the Big 12 would be taking. And then if they did take Arizona State with Arizona, then Utah would have an argument. We already know that the other three schools that are in real danger in the Pac-12 is Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State. I see no landing spots for those three schools as far as the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, or the Big 12. Their only option might be to either join the Mountain West or straight up merge with the Mountain West. That would be a big step backwards for Utah because Utah actually came from the Mountain West. Could you imagine having to go back to the conference that you jumped out of to get to a power conference? That would be a devastating blow to Utah. A lot of people forget about that. Utah came from the Mountain West. If the Pac-12 gets picked apart to the point to where they have to merge with the Mountain West or the remaining schools have to join the Mountain West, they would have to swallow their pride and rejoin the conference that they left and take a step backwards. Not an ideal situation for Utah. So Utah needs something to happen, and their only hope might be for the Big 12 to take pity on them and take them in with Arizona State. Otherwise, here's how the new Mountain West would look like if a complete merger of the remaining teams, or if the remaining teams just had to straight up join the Mountain West. You'd have Air Force, Boise State, Cal, Colorado State, Fresno State, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon State, San Diego State, San Jose State, UNLV, Utah, Utah State, Washington State, and Wyoming. That's actually not a bad looking conference, but it's definitely not a Power 5 conference. And if Utah has to rejoin the Mountain West, you better believe they would be regretting joining the Pac-12 in the first place. Maybe they should have looked towards the Big 12 to begin with. And from what I'm hearing, the Mountain West is actually expecting the Pac-12 to dissolve or be severely weakened. So they're expecting all this stuff to happen. They're counting on the Big 12 grabbing those teams that I mentioned before and the Pac-12 severely weakened or straight up vote to dissolve. I think if they get down to 8 teams, they can vote to dissolve. It might be 8 or 6. I'm not sure. Point is, they could get down to that number and vote to dissolve, and the Mountain West would pick up the pieces. And from what I'm hearing, the Mountain West is expecting that. They expect those teams to need a landing spot. So you better believe that the lawyers of the Mountain West, they're trying to figure out what kind of leverage they can hold over those remaining Pac-12 teams to get them to join the Mountain West. And it's not going to be beneficial or favor the teams that are left out of the Pac-12. It will most definitely favor the Mountain West. They will have the leverage. So, I think Stanford's going to be fine because they have a strong enough brand and they're affiliated with Notre Dame. They could go independent if they really wanted to. That's how much money they have. I expect Oregon and Washington to be fine, whether they decide to join the Big 12 or stick it out for a couple more years and hopefully the Big 10 accepts them. Either way, they're going to be fine. I expect Arizona and Colorado to join the Big 12 no matter what. Whether it's with Washington or Oregon or by themselves, I expect them to join the Big 12. And I do think that there's a chance that the Big 12 could also bring in Arizona State and Utah to actually lock down those states. Even though I mentioned the litigating factors before, maybe the Big 12 just wants to straight up lock down those states, so they do bring in Utah and Arizona State. The teams that have to worry, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State. You guys are in big time trouble. You're probably not going to have a landing spot if the Pac-12 does dissolve. You'll have to go to the Mountain West. If you want to classify that as a landing spot, then by all means do so. But to me, that's taking a massive step backwards. You guys should be nervous right now. This is how fast things go around here. Literally, as I was about to upload this video, I heard the news that Stanford and Cal are actually interested in joining the Big 12. That could screw Utah even more because that's a footprint for the Big 12 in the state of California, even if they just get one of those. Cal. And I know Cal's not a very big brand, and it was one of the 3 teams that I was worried about as far as the Pac-12 might end up being in the Mountain West. But if you really think about it, that would be really smart by the Big 12. You'd be getting your footprint in the state of California. It would also help Cal because I think the Big 12 would be their only option. They're not getting the Big 10 or the SEC. That's a win-win situation for the Big 12 and Cal, plus Stanford. Can't forget about Stanford. But I think Stanford would be fine if they went independent. So Stanford's really not worried about anything. But that would be a massive, massive stumbling block for Utah trying to get to the Big 12. Because right now, they're not on the first list as far as the Big 12 accepting members. Right now, the Big 12 is about to accept Colorado and Arizona. They would definitely accept Oregon and Washington. And now it looks like they would accept Cal and Stanford. So Utah fans, y'all need to find a way to get out of the Pac-12 and avoid joining the Mountain West. So y'all let me know in the comments section, do you think the Pac-12 actually survives this, turns the tables, and actually picks off the Mountain West? Or do you think the days of the Pac-12 are numbered and the Mountain West will figure out a way to get those teams for pennies on the dollar? That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.